Professor Kingsley Moghalu, a political economist, lawyer, former United Nations, UN, diplomat and founder of the Institute for Governance and Economic Transformation, EGIT, recently returned home to Nigeria after several decades working globally in countries including in the United States of America, USA, Switzerland, Cambodia, Croatia, Tanzania as part of the UN Diplomatic Corps. He later was a professor of practice in international business and public policy at world-renowned Fletcher School of Law and Diplomacy at Tufts University in Massachusetts, USA. Professor Kingsley Moghalu, former Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, and Professor Yemi Osinbajo, Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria at the Future Awards Africa 2017. Professor Moghalu obtained his foundational degree in law from the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, and began his career as a corporate and media attorney in Lagos. He then expanded his profile as a political strategist and public policy expert with his work in various capacities with the United Nations between 1992 and 2008. He resigned his position at the UN and briefly set up his risk advisory firm Sogatu Strategies in Geneva in January 2009, before he returned to Nigeria in November of that same year to be appointed as Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria by President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua. As a Deputy Governor and member of the Board of Directors of the institution, Professor Moghalu was widely acclaimed for successfully executing many of the extensive reforms spearheaded by then-Governor, Sozi Lamido Sozi. Sozi was recently quoted as saying he has no regrets about his decision to recommend Professor Moghalu on the merit of his work to President Yar'Adua. Professor Moghalu and Emir Muhammadu Sozi too in November 2017. At the end of his tenure at the CBN in 2014, Professor Moghalu joined the Fletcher School of Law and Diplomacy at Tufts University in Massachusetts, USA, where he taught international business and public policy to graduate students. Since his return to Nigeria, Professor Moghalu has dedicated his time and skills to contributing to the socio-economic discourse of the country through scholarly papers, speeches, engaging policymakers, and newspaper content. Professor Kingsley Moghalu delivering the keynote address at the 2017 edition of the Emerging Political Leaders Summit, at the Shehu Musa Yar'Adua Center, Abuja. Professor Kingsley Moghalu, former Minister of Information, Frank Week Jr., and the founder of Ben TV UK, Alastair Soyode. As part of his efforts to ensure an inclusive conversation, Professor Moghalu has begun to extend the conversation to include ordinary Nigerians through various platforms on a variety of issues affecting the country. Prof. Moghalu with his Igwe, His Royal Highness Igwe Kon. Orizu, Igwe of Ui. During his visit to HRH. Alfred Emeka Akib, Obi of Oitsha. Visiting a group of widows, the Chiedia Widows Organization and Farmers Cooperative in Ui. Professor Moghalu with University of Nigeria students and founders of the End Domestic Violence Campaign, Pedro Iki, left, and Emeka Ok, right, when they visited him at his country home in Ui to discuss his support for the campaign, December 29, 2017. Professor Moghalu is also deeply philanthropic, establishing the Isaac Moghalu Foundation 12 years ago to work to develop community literacy and to sponsor education for underprivileged children in rural communities.